In this lesson, we're going to go ahead and create the Contact Us page. And the Contact Us page is going to basically have just some basic contact information like a phone number, an email, maybe like a sentence or two with a headline. And then also we'll have a kind of like a location in terms of maps that somebody can use with their mouse or use with their finger, be able to just move and pan around the actual map. All right, so we'll go ahead and take Control D to duplicate this. And we're going to change this to Contact Us. We're going to change this to Contact Us. And we're going to get rid of this stuff right here. We'll keep this description right here, and we're just going to put feel free to contact us at any time through the available options below. Something simple like that will work just well. And then we can put in a phone number and an email, essentially. Ideally, you also include a web-based form, but we're not going to add that right now. We'll just do just two quick options. Really what we could do is take this and just duplicate it, hold Alt and Shift and move down. And we'll go ahead and put a fake phone number, 555-555-1234. And when you have this sort of thing and you know it's just going to be a phone number, we can just click auto width right here. We're going to move this in, and then we're going to get an icon and we'll put in phone. So for the phone, we'll just use this one right here. Drag that in. Sometimes these are very large icons, so we can scale them down holding Shift and Alt. And we want the icon in this context to be roughly the same size, or the height rather, as the type sitting next to it. Sometimes if they're too large or too small, it doesn't quite make sense. So we've just aligned this up along this column here and give it a little bit of white space. You want it too close or too far. And this would be perfectly fine. Maybe we'll move this down just slightly. And that's good. And then we'll go ahead and duplicate this, and we'll put an email address here. So contact@email.com of some sort. And again, we'll get out Iconify, and we'll get an email icon, one that's kind of filled, similar to this. And we'll drag this, oops, sorry about that. We'll drag this one right here. And again, we want them to be roughly the same size. So we put those on top, that's pretty solid. And maybe move it down one. And there we go. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. Everything's aligning up pretty decently. Maybe I'll move these just a little bit closer. All right, so now what we'll do underneath it is we are going to have a section right around here or so. And this right here is going to be like a Google Maps or just a map view of some sort. There are actual plugins you can use for this in Figma, but just to make our life a little bit simpler or easier, we can just go to maps.google, and I can type in 90210 Beverly Hills, California, just some random location based on that old TV show. And I'm just going to use my screenshot tool for this. I hit print screen, just copy this area. Something that's pretty large that we'll know we'll be able to zoom around with, and just save that as something like map.jpg. And so that, by the way, this tool, it's a free tool called Lightshot, and it allows you to save and also edit and do other things. So you can download that if you wish. All right, and it also comes for Mac and Windows. So I've already saved a version of that on my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and click on this and change this fill to a image, and then I will simply drag or just choose image right here to get that opened up. And I've selected it here, and what we can do now is we can now convert it to a frame, and that will allow us to kind of crop it in there. So here's what I mean by that. We'll just choose frame selection, and then we will also choose clip content. Now we can double click into the frame to get access to our image, and we can make the image larger like this. Then we can go to our prototype, we can click on this, and for overflow scrolling, we can choose horizontal and vertical scrolling. So at that point, we can move this over once again, Let's just get this lined up correctly. There we go. And before we can get to our contact page, however, we need to get our Contact Us button right here connected there. We'll go ahead and click here, click Gallery, and there we go. We can now move this around just by left clicking, dragging, and holding. Looks like we have a little issue right here. I'm not sure why that's showing up in the prototype. Clearly we could see it's not here. I was able to find it and delete it. For some reason there was a copy, but nonetheless it still works. Now, one thing I don't like about this design, these are very similar in tone, I feel. So I don't like the lack of contrast. So what we could decide to do is just delete that, and now we have a nice defined area where this map begins. And this is completely fine. Now we can kind of stand to move things up right around here in line with the previous container where that begins. And we can also just move this down, and it still works as such. So now we can go back to our download brochure or home, and everything is working well.